Being a wedding photographer can be extremely rewarding, but it can also come with different levels of stress and anxiety as you prepare for each wedding. So stick with us in this episode of Photography 180, and we'll chat a little bit about the best ways to overcome these challenges. Welcome back to the series, everyone. This week's episode was brought to us by our good friend and photographer, Richie, who thought this would be a great topic, and you know what? I fully agreed with him. So let's get into some of the best ways we can kind of overcome that stress and anxiety that you may have heading into a wedding. This is something that I dealt with way more intensely in my earlier years as a photographer, and as the years passed and I started to practice these sorts of things we're going to talk about more and more, I became more at ease. And that's not to say I don't go into a wedding now, today, after 10 years of experience with still some levels of stress and anxiety, but I have a lot better ways to control that and actually utilize that energy in a more positive way. So let's get down into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is all about preparation and organization. And we think about this in two different ways. And the first is going to be with our client. So we want to set up either a final details call or an in-person meeting where we can go over all the details of the wedding day, the locations, the timing, the timeline itself, important shots for family shots or any other kind of creative shots that they may be thinking of. Knowing all of this information well in advance is going to put you in a better position to attack the day. Now, in the second portion of that, we're talking about personal preparedness, and that's with our camera equipment, all of our batteries being charged, our memory cards being formatted and ready to go, and just having our equipment nice and clean and ready, our bag organized, so that you just go in with a nice clean mind in terms of your gear. You pack that into the car and you don't have to worry about forgetting anything on the day of because you're rushing trying to get organized. So those two things alone will at least get you walking into the day to start on a good foot. The second thing I want to discuss is continuing your own personal practice and skill development. It's important to target the areas that we feel we may be less strong in rather than continuing to just take amazing shots in one particular way that we know we're good at. So if you find a weakness, you really need to dedicate a good portion of time in practicing that particular skill, improving that skill. Could be attending a workshop or just setting up practice and test shoots so you can overcome those challenges you're facing. So on the wedding day itself, you know exactly what to do to get the shot that you need. The next part I want to talk about is all about self-care and mental health, and this is extremely, extremely important. Ways that I've been able to overcome the stress and anxiety ahead of a wedding day is by simply meditating, by taking a short period of time to just deep breathe, to close my eyes, and to just try to find peace as I get prepared to go out to shoot that wedding. I'm just kind of like thinking about all the positive things that are going to happen, and that just kind of gets you in a right state of mind as you go out and approach the day. Second to that is regular exercise. This just any day of the week, this can take place, but exercising regularly has this ability to kind of clear your head, clear your mind. It's a great way to kind of relieve some of that stress that might be built up inside of you. And last but not least is getting an adequate night's sleep before a wedding day. That goes back to being prepared and making sure you're not scrambling up until midnight, 1 a.m. before a wedding. Do all that well in advance so that you can get a good 7 to 8 hours of sleep, wake up well rested and ready to go. In all, this topic is very hard to summarize in 3 minutes or less, so we'll make a longer video to discuss more in depth on each of these areas, but these are very important things to think about in order to sort of ease that stress and anxiety. And again, after even 10 years, I still get it. It's totally normal. I want you guys to know it's totally normal, but finding these ways that we can manage it and reduce it and use that energy in a more positive way is going to make a world of a difference. If you have any questions about this topic, you won't be shy to reach out, drop us a comment, because we're here to help you just as much as everyone else in this community should be available to help each other. But we need to lean on each other to get through some of the harder times. So stick with it. I hope you guys appreciated this episode, and thanks again to Richie for suggesting it. We'll look forward to seeing everyone next week on Photography 180.